Episode 7, The Penny and the Shilling. Praise be to Allah, I had received pointers to clear up this enigma, but in my book it still fell far short of coming to a conclusion, and I would be a fool to suggest otherwise, so I resumed my pacing of the room, asking myself, why did the Almighty Allah, Lord and Creator of the universe, choose me? I went inside of myself looking for answers. Then I recalled an incident which happened when I was 7 years old. I was in sub B, my second year of schooling. My school teacher was Miss Jardine, or Juffro Jardine as we children called her in Afrikaans. In those days South Africa was called the Union of South Africa and was still nominally under the British, so we followed their money system of pounds, shillings and pence. Now in 2006, South Africa has rands and cents. When I was a child growing up, my parents were not affluent. My father was a bricklayer, and most of the times he would be out of work, but praise be to Allah, we children would want for nothing because he would supplement his income with money earned ministering to those afflicted in body and spirit. We were not without pocket money, and in those days when I was in sub B, a penny could stretch far. Sometimes my father would have a good week and I would get lucky, because he would give me a tikkie, which is equal to 3 pennies. In monetary terms of today, a tikkie is about equal to 6 rands, if not more. One day while sitting in class in sub B, I was feeling good. I had a penny in my pocket. Only this morning my mother had given it to me. I must have done something to please her. In my mind I was mentally planning how I was going to spend it, then my nose started to run. I fumbled for my handkerchief, pulling it out of my pocket unintentionally, dislodging the penny, ejecting it at the same time the handkerchief was pulled free. The sound it made when it hit the plank flooring had attracted the attention of the children sitting on the aisle facing it. The penny had fallen on its round edge, and the children, including myself, sat as if mesmerized, watching it as it rolled straight towards a hole about 1 meter away from me. The hole was caused by one of the knots in the flooring giving way, and much to my chagrin the penny disappeared down it and was lost to sight forever. I do not know what made the children think so, but they were under the impression that I had purposely rolled the penny down the hole. Most of these children came from homes much poorer than mine, and a penny to them was a lot of money. They expressed their admiration for my courage and daring to just willy-nilly, for the fun of it, roll a penny down a hole. As I was about to protest my innocence, I happened to glance at a girl called Abita Boltman, who was sitting slightly to the back of me. I had a secret crush on her. In fact, I was infatuated with her from the first day I had set eyes on her, when I had attended school for the very first time in sub A, when I was only 6 years old. When I looked into those big, brown, beautiful eyes of Abita and saw in them the admiration for me, I gladly forsook the loss of the penny. Nonchalantly I lifted my shoulders as if to say this was an everyday occurrence, furthering the admiration of the beholders and Abita to boot. The die was cast. I was caught in the web of my own desires and fancies. I just could not forget that look in Abita's eyes, and resolved to keep it there. How? Most obviously, by rolling more pennies down the hole. Soon all my pocket money found its way down there, but this was not enough, because the children would look expectantly at me every day, waiting for me to start the action. The modus operandi was that every day I would take a penny out of my pocket and hold it up in the air. The boys would gather round me in a circle. The girls would not partake in this ritual, but they would be avid spectators, including Abita. To loud cheering of the boys, I would commence rolling a penny at the hole. Sometimes the penny would disappear down the hole at the first try, but most of the times it would take a few attempts from me, but the cheering and egging on of the boys would not stop until the money had dropped down the hole. Afterwards I would glance at Abida, and her look of astonishment, admiration, and delight would make me preen with satisfaction. My pocket money was exhausted, the show had to go on, but not to worry, I had found a new source of supply. I had discovered where my mother kept her small change. Under the sugar pot. Every day I would take a penny, and every day the children were entertained. My mother did not notice her money were disappearing because she did not say anything. I was starting to miss my sweets, so I got bolder and took 2 pennies at a time, 1 penny for the whole and 1 penny for sweets. When the time came around and I received my weekly pocket money, I was more generous. To the delight of the children, I also dished out sweets, and for the hell of it I rolled 2 pennies down the hole. There was pandemonium, the kids absolutely went wild, and I marked up another notch in Abida's estimation. Things were starting to spiral out of control. I, taking 2 pennies at a time and my mother still not noticing anything amiss, became more audacious, and for the first time dared to take silver. Throwing money down the hole and entertaining the children with sweets now became a regular feature. Then, one day I went above board and really took big money. This happened about 2 weeks after the first penny had disappeared down the hole. I took a shilling, a sixpence, a ticky, and 2 pennies. This is roughly the equivalent of about 25 rands in today's terms, 2006. I must have left behind about 2 pennies, which a pittance compared to the amount which I took. The strangest part about all this is that my mother never complained about her money disappearing, and in those days every penny counted and went quite far. Not only did I make a mistake of taking big money, I compounded it by sharing some of the sweets which I had bought from the stolen money with my eldest sister, Rakim. She is a year older than me, very clever, and always used to come tops at school. She asked me where I got the sweets from, and I showed her all the money which I had left. That is to say, the shilling, the sixpence, and the ticky. Of the pennies I had taken with this money, the one went down the hole, and from the other I had bought the sweets. After enjoying the sweets with me, Rakim went straight to our mother and told her that I had a lot of money. Right away our mother summoned me. There was a look of determination on her face which I had never ever seen before, and somehow or another I sensed that I was in for a spot of trouble. My mother sat me down and asked me to explain how I came to be in possession of a ticky. I felt much relieved and thought that maybe Rakim did not tell how much money I had showed her after all, so I told her that I had picked up the ticky. My mother was not satisfied and I had to go into detail. She wanted to know exactly when and where I had picked up the ticky. All I can remember was that I told I had picked it up in the sand. I cannot say for sure that she believed me, but that is the impression which I got. Then my mother sprang a surprise on me. She asked me where I got the sixpence from. I was in a fix. I reasoned that I could not tell her that I had also picked up the sixpence because it would not sound plausible, and if I did she would not believe me, so I kept quiet. She insisted that I answer her, and when I still refused she started to hit me. At first it was with the flat of her hand, then her slipper, then she progressed to a strap. I cannot say how long this hiding went on. All I can say is my mother hit me a lot, I hurt a lot, and I cried a lot. At last, when she had finally stopped hitting me and my sobs had turned to sniffles, she asked me to explain how I came to be in possession of a shilling. This well nigh broke me. I was tired of a repeat performance. I could not very well tell her I had picked it up or that I had stolen it. Judging by the hiding I got because of the sixpence, I dreaded to think what she will do to me if I cannot give a proper accounting of the shilling, which is twice the value of a sixpence. Out of desperation I said I got it from Boetalemi. His real name is Suleiman, but for short we children called him Boetalemi, and he was married to my father's youngest sister Hava. They are all deceased, and may they abide in peace, Amen. On hearing this, our mother told my sister Rakim to go with me to Boetalemi, a walk of about 7 minutes away. She gave instructions for Rakim to personally verify with him if he gave me the shilling. Turning to me, she gave me a stern look and said to beware that if Rakim should come back with a negative report, the hiding she gave me because of the sixpence will be nothing compared to what she will do with me if I had lied about the shilling. I was in a terrible fix, and on my way to Boetalemi thought of ways and means to get out from under this tight spot. I just could not imagine Boetalemi owning up to something which he did not do. The thought crossed my mind to ask Rakim to cover for me, but I immediately discarded it, for she had already betrayed me by going to our mother in the first place, and the risk of another betrayal was just too great. I was in an untenable situation, and I was 7 years old, and there was no one to turn to, no one I could ask for help. But then it came to me, there was one I could turn to, one I could ask for help, one who had the power to do this and more, Allah. I lifted my heart in prayer to him. Aloud I said, but not so loud that Rakim could hear, I said, Allah, please help me, Allah, let Boetalemi say he gave me the shilling. Allah, if you do this for me, I promise I will never ever steal again as long as I live. Allah, listen to my prayer, because Boetalemi said I gave Mohammed Shukri the shilling and let nobody take it from him. Thanks to Allah, I escaped my mother's wrath. At school I went on a final binge. I entertained the children most royally with sweets and the rolling of coins down the hole, but to the disappointment of everybody I made it quite clear that the show has finally come to an end. As an adult looking back on this whole episode, one could discern the hand of Allah in this whole affair. First, it was very uncanny the way the coin came out of my pocket to fall on its rolling edge and make a beeline for a hole which was situated about a meter away from me. Then there was the unspoken electricity between Abida and me. We were kids in our second year of primary school. What about my mother's missing money? Why did she never ever raise a clamor about it? Possible answers to these posers can be: 1. Allah had returned the money after I had stolen it. 2. To begin with, the money was never ever there, it never belonged to my mother, she never ever missed it because Allah had put it there, because Allah knew that many years later I would relive this incident and see his design and plan in the scheme of things. What about my mother's strange way of questioning? Why did she not come straight out and ask me where I got the money, and I mean all the money? Why this trick questioning? In this also I detect the hand of the Almighty. It was meant for me to be punished, because punishment is a deterrent to future excesses, and in that itself is a learning curve. But Allah's justice is also tempered with Allah's mercy. In the case of the shilling, I had promised not to steal again, I had made repentance, so Allah's mercy came into play. Above all else, I had learned an invaluable lesson, namely Allah exists, Allah is alive, and that I can always turn to him. Did I live up to my promise unto Allah? Here follows an episode one wish tell in this regard. Towards the end of the 1970s I was gainfully employed to build in Babs to a cluster of 5,000 houses which formed a part of the housing scheme known as Mitchell's Plain. Every time I used to step into a bathroom to build in the bath, I used to see the waste, the small offcuts of the copper tubing which the relevant plumber had left strewn on the floor. These offcuts in itself are valueless, but if every bathroom's offcuts are collected and brought together, it will form quite a big mass, and if sold at the scrap market it could generate a tidy sum of money. I was quick to spot this opportunity, but in the beginning could not get myself to collect the off-cut simply because it did not belong to me. It was only after much soul-searching and agonizing after I had discovered that these self-same off-cuts eventually lands up in the dust outside to be collected as rubble and thrown away, that I took it upon myself to collect it, gather it together, and at a later date sell it, thereby earning an extra income by the grace of Allah. As a parting salvo, I wish to say, in the years to follow, the years while I was growing up, whenever money or other small articles of value for one reason or another used to disappear, my Uncle Jalal, may he rest in peace, always used to pounce on me and go through my pockets hoping to turn up the missing item. Sad to say, his ego or his detection or both always suffered whenever he tried to pin the crime on me. What he and the others around us had failed to know, was that I had made a pact with the Almighty Allah which I meant to keep until my dying day. I shared all this with Charliza, simultaneously, and with one voice we exclaimed together, another sign, and we both jumped for joy.